Looking for inspiration, peace, and a deeper connection with your soul? If you're ready to investigate your higher truth, take a deeper look inside, and discover a better way to live, stay tuned for Higher Soul Living, where we ignite your divine intelligence for life. With me, Rev Christine Heart Savage. I experienced a profound spiritual awakening that was so life-changing. It took me into a 30-year career as a metaphysical life coach and breathwork expert. I've mentored thousands of people through their personal challenges, anxiety, self-doubt, and search for meaning. Higher Soul Living is about choosing to live the higher way. It's about taking conscious ownership and drawing spiritual intelligence into your everyday life. Join me on a search for higher truth to find hope, connection, and happiness. The Higher Soul Living Show starts now.
Welcome. I want to welcome you to the show. I'm Dr. Pat. I am so honored I get to take this journey with the most incredible Reverend Christine Heart Savage. And today, we're going to talk about reading the signs. How do you know if you're on your life purpose? Now, if you want to know about Reverend Christine, you can do this by going to website soullifeconnection.com. But there's so much more to talk about. Each episode that we do, each time we enter this realm of speaking about things that change you, change life, we bring this conversation to the place where you understand that we're just not talking from a bunch of books sitting up on a shelf. Each of us has gone through life changes. Today, you're going to hear from Reverend Christine about the signs, reading the signs. And I hope Linda is listening to this show, because Linda, who we all know, one of our producers, my executive producer, a fox keeps showing up, not just in the neighborhood. The fox is in the neighborhood, but now the fox is coming up to Linda's door. And I've got these fox pictures on my phone. And I'm like, Linda, you need to look at the sign. You need to read the totem. Reverend Christine, who knew we would be talking about that? And by the way, happy Friday the 13th.
It is. Well, I'm right in Friday the 13th. And as I said to you, it's been a funny sort of morning already. And you enter it very soon, don't you? A few hours into Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I'm already feeling it. I'm already feeling it. I just tried to string a bunch of lights out in my yard, and guess what I didn't do? Test them.
I know. It's got an energy to it.
It does.
Thank you so much for being on my first program today with Higher Soul Living. Really love having you here. But before we get going, I want to introduce you because you have given so much of yourself and a service to humanity for many years. So Dr. Pat Baccili, I'll get it right, Friday the 13th, tongue in cheek. Now you are a leader and a real leader in human potential, and a host of the Dr. Pat Show, which is an internationally acclaimed show that reaches millions and millions of people over 142 countries. That's a lot of countries. And you have won the Positive Talk Show Award in Seattle for 9 years running. I mean, that's extraordinary. And beyond your radio, you're a TV commentator, keynote speaker, career belief coach. You're a seminar leader and an award-winning author and researcher. You speak, you're an international inspirational speaker and the CEO of your company, motivational company. So really, there's so much to you. We could go on and on. And
Thank you.
You have done so much for humanity. It's fantastic. And the thing that I love about you, Dr. Pat, is you are a delightful person. It's really great working with you. You're so real, and you've been through a lot of things in your life, which I love because it makes us deeper and better, I think.
Yeah. Doesn't it though? I mean, this is the kind of thing where we can laugh at an hour thing that I did with the lights that I didn't plug in to test them. Look, I'm talking to y'all out there. I know I'm not alone. I'm just telling you, I know you all have done so many things. You didn't test those holiday lights, did you? what do you think about the fox and Linda? Is that a sign?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I wonder what it is. I'll have to look up the totem later and see what
It's a
it
big
is.
one. It's fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So it'd be
Yeah.
good to find out exactly what that is.
But let's
Yeah,
talk about it now. Sometimes we talk about signs. How do you know if you're on your life purpose? Because that's part of it. And I got to tell you, that red
yeah,
fox totem for Linda, that is going
yeah,
to give her a lot of information. But each of us, we each have signs, we each have them show up. But what are the signs that tell us I made the right turn in the road? Is it really the right turn, or should I have
yeah.
made that other turn?
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things with life purpose. Firstly, is there such a thing? Are we all born with a life purpose? And I believe we are. I really do. I think we have free will though. And the choices we make along the way, do they actually alter our life purpose? Or do we go round to that purpose, that same purpose, in a different way? So these are all questions that are very interesting because with the choices we make, if we look back on our lives, if I look back on my life and our listeners look back on their lives and you look back on your life, the choices we make have such an effect on our current reality.
Yeah.
But when we're younger, we don't realize that. It,
Clueless.
totally.
Let me speak for myself. Clueless. I could have been in that movie, right? I'm a late bloomer. And, people that do my chart, the astrology people, I just had my human design done. But people that do my astrology charts, they say, listen, with what you got going on, the way you show up in the world, yeah, you may be this triple or quadruple Sagittarian, but oh my gosh, you got 4 planets in Capricorn in your moon. So you're never going to really allow yourself to get up and travel the world if you have work to do. And I thought, that's depressing.
Yeah.
But the life purpose thing, I never thought I'd be here. I never thought in a
I
million
really get that.
years.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, same here. I mean, my biggest fear in life has been public speaking. It's one of those things you grow up in your family, in our family. It was, traditional sort of family, but the kids, we didn't have a lot of say. You just did as you were told, and you really, I think the kids these days have a lot more of a voice, and we didn't have a voice, and I didn't know what my voice was anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know who I was and what I was about. And it took a lot of life challenges and going through all sorts of traumas, which we all have along the journey. But they were quite severe. And it wasn't until, I had the really last breakdown 30 odd years ago that I really started to understand because something opened up in me that there's so much more to us. Our thoughts are real and we do have a choice about what we think, where I just had thoughts going through my mind, they just pitted through, and you don't think about it. It's just who you are. You don't think, oh, I'm having a thought. You've just sort of mingled with that thought like it is you, and it really isn't.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, let's think. I'm so glad you're talking about this because sometimes these signs show up interestingly. And for those of you listening, I'm going to tell you that you are getting signs and messages, and Reverend Christine's going to walk you through this because the work that she does in the world is so profoundly precise. And let me tell you what I mean by precision. If you're like me or other people, you want to cut to the chase. You want to get at, okay, here I am today. I'm either stuck in this, I have a negative aspect about my finances, la, 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 la. You got to work with somebody that's going to do some laser work on you and cut things out because this is the time to do it. We do not want to hop over to 2025 and be dragging. I just got on Nat's machine about an hour ago. He didn't know I was on there, but I discovered a reason that things were getting slow. So there's a setting in editing, video editing, and it has to do with the cache on your machine. If
mm,
you don't clear that out, or here's a good one, you don't take that cash and redirect it to another drive, you will slow down. So let's talk about that, because that's a metaphor for all the things that take us away from seeing the signs, living the signs, and being the signs, right?
Mm, mm. Yeah, totally. Because we can't see. We have scotomas, like blind spots, and we just get into this habit where we can't see beyond them. And I think that's another analogy for what you're saying, Dr. Pat.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And but here we are. You talked about our thinking. Does our
yeah,
thinking lead us into a real life experience? I want to talk about this
yeah.
because for so long we didn't understand it. And then lucky me was doing the show and I got to really promote what to believe to we know. But let's talk about it, because reality, choices, how does this affect the course of our life purpose?
Absolutely. I just think it's such an important thing, that awareness that we actually can use this precious life force that flows through our bodies, and we can learn to harness that and consciously direct it to what we want to do. And we don't realize that we just sort of flitter every day through life using up this precious life force, getting attached and emotionally charged and reactive to things, which absolutely we lose so much energy by that stuff, that we could really start catching that and working with that, harnessing that energy and using it to produce a really wonderful life. And that's what I've learned along my journey, is how to do that. Do I do it perfectly all the time? No way. And
Yeah.
sometimes I have flitty days where I'm not on top of all of that. But, I think meditation also helps to open that channel and to teach us and to raise us to a higher frequency where we can actually get in touch with our mind, start to look at, oh, these are pretty dark thoughts or negative thoughts, or we're blaming other people or judging, and then actually catch that and say, no, this is not who I am. It's not who I'm choosing to be. And then actually looking at, well, who am I? Who am I choosing to be?
Mm.
Where do I want to take my life? And then really stepping into creating that. And I think that's one of the biggest things I learnt years ago is about that. And I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I don't think we stop. What about you, Dr. Pat?
Well, I
Because,
want to ask you about this because I want to ask about the soul guiding us here. I know
yeah,
I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but I got to get to it for a minute. Because if you look back on your life, what do you see? Right. And it was so interesting in my corporate career, right? You and I have chit-chatted a little bit about this. I remember they come in and they do the testing and the Myers-Briggs and the person, all of that. And I remember I got to the one question, this almost cost me my job, right? And they asked me, what you're looking at the picture, do you see a glass half full or half empty? How do you see a glass? What do you see when you see a glass? Is it half full or half empty? I said, I've never heard of such a silly thing in my life. I always fill my glass up. Why would anybody have a half empty glass, or why would you have a half of a glass of anything? And they looked at me like you missed the point. And then
yeah,
I looked at them and I said, is this like a joke? I mean, are we doing joking in this personality assessment? Because that's the way I look at it. And so when we look back at our lives now when I look back at my life, I see it differently.
yeah.
You know, every time I do a keynote and I open it up, and especially about struggles, I want to ask you about this, Reverend Christine, about struggles. My first 3-minute opening stops people in their tracks. And I ask them, what would you do if you were born into this world, had a mom that was an active alcoholic and an addict, and that for the first year of your life, they put Zambuca on your gums because you cried because they thought you were teething. And you go through life and you're really different. You can't stop rocking. You're tapping all over the place. You're not really talking to people. Your uncles give you boxing gloves and you love them. Your mom decides life is too much for her and commits suicide. And then you're homeless by 17. And I said, what would you do? And then I pause and say, you start a network called the Transformation Network. Why am I saying that though, Reverend Christine? Because here we are.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the signs in your life. let's talk about how you pull them all together, the puzzle pieces,
Mm.
so that we can look at our lives. We can look at what we've done, and let's give everybody from your perspective, how these experiences open up all the doors.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you've had an incredible journey there, Dr. Pat. It's just incredible. For me, it's really been a journey of very low self-esteem, had no idea who I was. I've always thought I was wrong when I was younger. Always thought there's something wrong with me. It seemed that everyone else could get ahead in life, but not me. And my journey has been very much about learning to step into my personal power. And the way that has really come through is through relationship. So I was married twice before I was 33. So the first time was at 19 and the second time was at 30. I think it was 30. So, and you know, they were just really unsuccessful relationships. They were hard work. And what I realized, even though I started to track patterns, because my second husband was quite, he was the one who taught me the most, I'll put it that way, completely stripped me bare to my soul. And I really probably could have left the planet at that point, but I had two children. So it's like, make these choices. And really, the doctor wanted to put me into hospital because of where I was, but I knew that that wasn't the journey for me. And I've spoken to all into this before. My second husband had this black sheet, and he used to put it over a servery in between the kitchen and a dining room. And that black sheet was just this message to me of something terrible, because he lived in that room for the last probably 6 months or so of our marriage. And it was just horrible. So this echoed in my life, and I knew that I had to heal the black curtain in my own soul. I had to go in and really look at myself, and I knew this innately, but I didn't know how to do it, mind you. So that's when I decided I would learn meditation and breath work. And those two things together work so well, like a hand in a glove.
Nothing
And
like them.
yeah, they're brilliant. So it's like you have to stand up inside yourself, turn around and face yourself. And then the work begins, the inner work. So it's really been a journey of, why am I attracting these men that are so controlling? They have a nice side too, you know, because I'm so empathic. I can see into people, I see their nice side, and I've always fallen for that. My father said to me once, "You bring home stray dogs, Christine.
Oh my
You
gosh.
always do." But, you know, I could see the good. I can still see it, feel it in people.
I totally
But
get it.
yeah, so it's these boundaries, learning to have boundaries, learning to look at, don't listen to the words, look at the actions of the person. So I've had a lot of people in my life with narcissistic behaviors. And that's been a real journey of pulling that apart and looking at that, and what's my contribution to this attraction into my life? You know, where am I being weak, not strong enough, overgiving? Because mine was an overgiving thing. So I had to learn about personal power, about boundaries, about standing up and knowing what it is that I want and speaking those things. So it's been an interesting journey. And
Yeah.
the thing about work, which I started the business, you know, 30 odd years ago, was I kept being asked to speak at people's birthdays, to speak on radio. Will you come on and speak for us? And it was like, oh no, my biggest fear. And, you know, people didn't always know I was nervous, but sometimes it would be a whole week of trauma with anxiety, panic attacks because of speaking. But I suffered terribly with panic attacks when I was younger, really bad anxiety, shocking.
Yeah.
So it's been this journey of overcoming these things, and we all can. We all can. So it's about learning skills. I
And
think one of
that's
the
really, I got to tell you, I'm really excited that we're talking about this today, because this is part of the message, right? We're giving out to everyone today. you know, we're kind of chuckling a little bit. We're smiling as we're talking about this. But I want to be very clear with everyone that while each of us was going through this, it was like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. It really was. I mean, we're on the other side of something. And that's why Reverend Christine teaches this, coaches this, mentors people,
Mm.
does speak now. Because why? So let me ask you about this part of the puzzle. And part of this is going through this so we can uncover their hidden skills and gifts. Now, weird statement, but I think you know what I mean, because I don't think if you went through this or I didn't go through what I went through, and I stuttered as a kid. Hello, the skills wouldn't have emerged. Like, who knew I could do this? Nobody.
Yeah, and it's such an important point because those patterns of fear are like barnacles that sit on our soul. They cover our soul. And we can actually remove that bit by bit, layer after layer after layer, removing those barnacles, if you like, or the shadows that sit over the soul. And underneath are the skills that we need, I believe, for our life purpose. And until we uncover that darkness and we
Wow.
work through that stuff, that light can't shine through and say, here are your skills. It keeps us at a low vibrational frequency. And once we start to shift that through, sure, it can be lumpy, but better out than in, better out than in. And as you raise yourself up and these barnacles or these shadows start to dissolve that are covering the soul, you raise up more and more, and your life starts to change. Now, it can't change until we start to release those shadows and change our personal frequency
Yeah.
of
And
the
let me
light.
ask you, let me ask you this question about it, because one of the most important things, or one of the questions I get asked, especially after I do a show like this today, especially after we're doing a show like this, there's a magnetic pull. You had a magnetic pull to start this show, right?
Mm.
There's a magnetic pull, and sometimes we don't understand it. Like I dialed a wrong phone number in 2003, and I didn't hang up. That was a sign and an opportunity. So let me ask you, the universe sometimes, and our consciousness sometimes, acts in conjunction with what it is trying to get us to do, right?
Yes, definitely.
Sometimes you're in that narcissistic, I've been there, narcissistic relationship, and you're
Yeah.
like, get the sign, get out, hurry up, run, don't walk, just
Yeah.
leave. But then you don't. But let's talk about this, because your journey, my journey, and the work you do is to show people you can start to see these positive changes the minute you decide you want to change something, right?
Absolutely. Because I love what you just said, Dr. Pat, about the magnetic pole. Because seriously, we have a magnetic pole, if you like, inside us as well. So the law of attraction that a lot of people speak about, it literally is inside us. And so we are going to attract to us what we need that's going to bring up, because I believe the universe loves us
I
so
do
much.
too.
Yeah. So that it's like, oh my God, I'm going backwards and I've got all this trauma happening in my life again. But it's that magnetic pole that is attracting to us what we need to bring up the next layer to be cleared so that we can shine brighter. If we just understood that healing looks lumpy, it's when things are coming up that we have this opportunity to make new choices, to face things, to step into a different role, a different pathway, a different action, and make a difference to ourselves. And that really reflects in our outer world. And like you said before, Dr. Pat, about you would never have thought you're doing this, being where you are now. Me neither.
Right.
Never. Never in a million years did I think that I'd be speaking and have a 30 odd year career working with people and in groups and clinically. I mean, I just feel so thankful and grateful. It's such a blessing to
Yeah.
work with people in such a real way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's interesting because people always ask me. I was playing ping pong yesterday because I told you it was my birthday and I'm playing. That's how I treated myself. And I'm playing with this young guy, and we're talking, playing, talking, play. That's what I love. You just don't go play. You got a community. And so I'm talking, playing, talking, playing. And I said, I have to stop now. And they're like, what? I said, yeah, I just have to stop. I got to go do 2 shows, right? And they looked at me like, you're really going to walk off the court? And I had to. I really pushed it right up to 5 minutes. And I said, yes. And I had to run and change my shirt and all that stuff. But he said, afterwards, he said, you're still working?
Yeah,
I said, well, not work the way you think it. I said, I'm living my joy.
that's it.
He said,
Yeah.
but you're still working. I said, yes, I'm living my joy. I've created an organization that does great things in the world. And yes, I work a lot of hours, but I feel
Yeah.
so blessed.
It,
And
it's
he
it,
looked at me and he said, I'm still going to beat your butt. But
uh, but what you're saying is it's so true. It's not work as such, but we don't really have a language for it, do we? It's
no,
sort of it's just service. And when you're in your service, you feel aligned, you feel your heart is full. It's a wonderful feeling. It's fulfilling, definitely.
but doesn't that go back to what we were saying? Let's talk about this. If I read the signs and I follow the breadcrumbs, whatever you want to call it, you will know you're on your
Mm,
life purpose. How will
yeah,
you know? Because you may work 60 or 70 hours of the week and not think it's work.
yeah, yeah.
Or you may get to speak somewhere and be in front of people. I mean, this is what we're saying. These signs, these things that happen to
Mm,
you, they
yeah,
led you to this very moment.
absolutely. And I've got, quite a few clients that I'd love to sort of tell you their great journeys, and we won't have time today, but there's one who is an alcoholic and healing alcoholic, and she's doing really well. She's been in recovery for not quite 2 years, but now, through all of the things that she's been through, she is now starting to mentor. So she's got her first 2 mentees, and she's mentoring, and she is so fulfilled by what she's doing and how she can give back. Now, that's a really great way to look at how it works. She would never have known her pathway is going to be, it'll go further. She's going to do some study and sort of get into, coaching a lot more. But because of her life experience and what she's been through, she's going to be the most wonderful coach and mentor. So when things don't look like they're going the right way, they usually are. There's always a purpose for where we are and what we need to learn.
I'd
Yeah.
love you shared that because I'll tell you this. Okay, I know we don't have a lot of time left, and
Oh,
I
was
want you
right.
to share your closing message. But I do want to say this. When I decided to get clean and sober in 1989 and then officially in 1990, one of the things, let's call them a rule, one of the rules in recovery is that when you step in that path, you must start service.
Yeah.
Now, that's a whole new, and then you become a sponsor or you work with the sponsor. See, that experience for me opened up a whole new doorway for me.
Yeah.
I worked with other women in a way that I didn't know I could. I don't know if I'm explaining it right,
No, it's
but
perfect. And the intimacy and
yes,
the
that's the word.
honesty and the trust that is built in a deep way when someone is in trauma and you've been there, and we have to integrate it. We have to integrate it into the body. We have to do the work to then be able to help others because we can't do it until we're really, really on our way with the healing. And then it just the people that come to you, your tribe, if you like, whoever it is, your spiritual family, I like to call it, we can do some wonderful work. And the honesty and the rawness and the intimacy is so rich and beautiful.
Now, look, I want to make sure everybody knows how to work with you, but I want to say this. It doesn't mean I wasn't scared beyond scared the
Totally.
first time I met with my first sponsee. And I thought, I am an imposter. If I don't do this right, she's going to go drink.
Yeah.
She's going to go use. she may commit suicide. I mean,
Yeah.
all of that could have stopped me, but the signs were there for me to move forward.
Yes. Yes. But also the passion of that is stronger than that fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the fear is there, it's strong, but the need to do it, the passion to help others through is stronger.
It is. And who knew I had that within me, right? Because
Yeah.
if you're an addict and an alcoholic, your life is only about one thing.
Yeah.
Like,
And
why
that's true.
doesn't Disney World serve alcohol? That's where your brain is. That's where you are. But
Yeah.
when you're not in that space, and it's never too late for you all out there, look at the signs like Reverend Christine is talking about. It's never too late. This is such a powerful episode. It really taps on so many things. How do people work with you? And what's the closing message for today? Because we can get someone to just start
Yes.
that one step, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's that one step. And I really do believe that we need a tool or something to use whilst we're actually learning this. And I really do think that the first thing is learning to breathe correctly, because we just don't. We do not breathe well, and we don't know we're not breathing well. Yeah, so I have a great course actually on special at the moment. And yes, so that's a thing people can do. But I think it's a great idea to actually look at what you're going through. If you're in trauma, something difficult at the moment, just stop. Just take a few breaths, just sit with yourself, looking sort of within if you can. And what I mean by that is just becoming as still as possible and think about your life. Like turn around in your mind and look at your life. What's it been showing you? It'll be showing you a picture of your life journey and where you are now. And a lot of us know underneath, what is my next step? What do I actually have to do next to start changing it? That's where the scary bit comes in, because it can feel very, very filled with fear that if I do that, will I be okay? We don't feel safe in the world. But we all know there is a next step that we should take. That's it. When I say should, it's the one that is going to take us more in alignment with our soul's journey, our reason for being here. But often it's so scary, we stay put. But even just going in today and looking at where your life is without judgment and knowing what you have to do, even if you don't change anything today, just having that awareness, bringing it into your mind, and some signs may come up in life that will help you through to your next step. In fact, I'm sure they will. Yeah.
Wow. And so tell us about your the work that you're doing and the course that you're offering, because there's nothing like breath work. And so many people poo-poo it. And I want to say to you,
Oh,
I use it. Look, I do a lot of sports and a lot of other things, and you will see me step away and turn my back and breathe. And I don't mean just breathe, I mean breathe,
consciously breathe.
consciously
Yeah.
breathe.
Yeah.
What
Mm.
you gain from that, all the signs that will come flooding in
Yeah.
about how to guide you. And that's what you're teaching. So, how do
Yeah.
people sign up for that?
Well, actually, there is a breathwork group online tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, but it's on my website, so they can have a look under breathwork for that. And there is a course called the Breathing Shift. And actually, I'll go on after this and just put something they can put into the purchasing. They'll get a discount. It's of $120 off it. So it's actually a really good discount. And that's a great place to start. That's an
Okay.
online course. Yep. And we have to go. I know we're out of time. It's so
But
great.
I needed to spend a little bit more time here. We had a little late start, but that
Yeah.
is for everybody listening. There's more of you to come. So let's say that.
Yes.
And for those of you, go back and listen to this again. And let's just leave everybody with this message as you go into the holiday season or whatever season you're going into. Hold on to hope.
Yeah.
Hold on to hope. It is a gateway. And that's what we're talking about today. What a great show. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for having me
Thank you,
on.
Dr. Kat, for coming on to Higher Soul Living.
Thank you. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to Higher Soul Living, where you'll ignite your divine intelligence for life with me, Rev Christine Heart Savage. Join me every second and fourth Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio for more information and stories that inspire hope, possibilities, and a greater understanding of who you are at a higher soul level. Together we deepen the connection between the spiritual and the physical aspects of your being and align to your soul's innate intelligence. Metaphysics and the higher soul's journey are my greatest joy. I invite you to join our Facebook community, Soul Life Connection Group, and to visit my website, soullifeconnection.com, for more information about me, my programs, my coaching, and to tap into your higher soul's intelligence. I hope to see you next time.